G'day fellas, how you going? I thought I'd just make a really quick video about how to make boot covers. I've had a few questions from a few people just asking how I do mine. I did it in a very, very simple way, so if anybody is wondering how to do it, please watch this next video because you're going to love it. The only thing you need to keep in mind is you will need boots, which you probably don't care about too much because you're probably going to ruin them a little bit, but they're going to turn out fantastic for your cosplay. So if you're looking to make some boot covers, watch this video, you're going to love it. Right, so the first thing you're going to want to do is get your boots. As you can see, these boots are the ones you can kind of put your foot in with the zipper, but my foot kind of just slips straight in, so I don't actually need to use the zipper whatsoever. For boots that are kind of tug your leg a little bit tighter, you do need to add a little bit of a zip at the back, but I'll show you where to put that in a little bit later. So, first things first is you get your material. And obviously, what you have to do, put your boot down and just cut all around it. So you leave a little bit of space there where you can actually sew lines. And what you're going to want to do after that is get your marker pen and basically just draw a line around where you want to sew it. It doesn't need to be too precise at this point in time because we will tighten it later, we will make it a bit more snugly fit, but for now you just want to get a general outline idea of where you're going to want to put your sewing machine through. So that'll probably do for now. I'll fix that up in a bit. And once you've done that, as I've already done here, you just want to double over your material. So I've got two pieces here and just pin it down. And as you can see, I've already drawn the outline of that. And what we're going to do now is sew it down, and then we're going to slip it over the boot next. And I'll show you how to tighten it after that. So, alright, so once you have sewn up your boot cover drafts already, you just slip them over the top of your boot and it should look like something like this. Now, ideally what you're going to want to do is pull the sleeve as tight as you can, really, and hold together with pins. With the pins in particular, what you'll be aiming to do is putting one probably at the front of the boot to kind of pull it tight. And if you've got enough material, wrap it around the bottom just like that and pin it down. Unfortunately, what I've done with mine is I've made a bit of a mistake and didn't leave enough, but it's going to be okay because what we're going to be doing in the end is just gluing it just above the sole here. So you really only need enough material just to cover it. Now, what you're going to want to do after that is, in particular, try and find the line along the back of the boot first. There's a little bit of like an inside curve like this, which you're going to want to find first, especially if you want to put a zipper on the back. So find that curve, chuck your zipper on as you need to first, once you've got that back line curve, and then you can slip it over the boot again to get the front side. As you can see, what I've done here is I've just pinned the boot all the way along the front, all the way along the back, just so it fits snugly. The best way to do that is actually grab a can of hairspray, really tall one, preferably one that's full. This one's kind of empty. I've got a full one in here, and it kind of helps add a bit of weight so you can, put the boot together. So once you've done that, you just have to get your marker pen, draw a line up the sides, down the front in particular, and sew it nice and tight. Now, once we've done that, we'll be able to prep the boot for adding details on it. And once I've done that, I'll show you how to do that next. And as you can see here, we've got our boot covers. The base is nice and well fitted. So what you can do with the previous step is you can put the boot cover, slip it on, adjust the tightness, slip it on, adjust the tightness as much as you need to until it gets to a fit that you're happy with. So I'm pretty happy with how that's turned out so far. Now, the important thing that we have to do next is make sure we add any boot embellishments on before we actually glue it to the boot, because obviously once it's glued to the boot, it's very difficult to pick up the entire boot itself and throw it under the sewing machine. So we want to add any embellishments that we can right now before we attach to the boot completely. So what you do need to do is take a quick look at your reference picture. So for mine, it's Naofumi from the Shield Hero. And as you can see here, he's got a little bit of detail, a panel down the front, some stuff up the top, and some stuff on the toe. Now, the toe here is probably the important part that we want to look at here, because what we are going to be doing later is gluing the fabric of our boot cover that we've made to just above the sole of the boot. And we want to make sure that any detail that we have that's kind of surrounding the sole goes far down enough so it doesn't, get cut off short or anything. So what I will do here is I'll grab my pen. Now let's mark off where I expect it to go. Obviously use a fabric marker or whatever else you got. Unfortunately, I don't have any fabric markers on me, so I'm using a big fat Sharpie, which I can see, but it won't be seen through the other side. And once I mark that down, I know exactly where I'm going to place the details and the embellishments. I'll also do the same thing for the front embellishments, the front panel down the front here. And the top one, not so important because I can easily just add that on later if I need to. But the main thing to do right now is make sure any embellishments, especially around the sole of the boot or around the front, is put on now. So I'm going to take a bit of time to add on those details now. And once those details have been added, the next part of what we'll do, probably the last part, is just gluing it down to the boot itself. So there's no overhang like this, and it'll look like a complete boot cover when I'm finished. So I'll do that now, and we'll see how it looks. Alright, after a lot of work and fiddling around, I finally got the base of the boot cover done. A little bit and piece of it will still need adjustments, but for the most part, this is what it's going to look like. So, as I mentioned before, I made the tip toe cover. Obviously, I used the markings on the inside, which I marked before, and got to make the cover here. I put this front panel on. I put the little flappy bit up top and some of the fluff. And obviously, this will need to be trimmed back a little bit, but I'll do that once it's on the boot itself. And I've got, I guess I've got something to measure it against. There's obviously a little bit of detail in here, which was also put on the boot itself once I've got everything done. Now, one thing that I actually learned from this one as well is putting on a front panel is actually very difficult if you don't have a zipper on the back, because most of my boot covers I make usually have a zipper on the back side. So I actually had to split this open so I could sew this on properly and then sew it back up again. So if you do have a zipper, putting on front panels will be much, much easier. Now, where we go from here is you obviously want to attach the boot cover to the boot itself. Now, I've already got this one set up. I haven't attached it yet, but I will probably be doing that tonight. Now what we're going to do here is pull it tight, again as we did before, just putting it on the right way. And obviously pulling it down as tight as we can, and we want to glue it around the bottom with our trusty hot glue gun. So what we want to be doing is aiming for just above the sole, because this is made of rubber. It won't actually hold the glue very well, so we want to kind of glue just above it and press down, I guess get our material, and we press down with our nail into the glue so it'll make a nice hold once we hot glue it. So we want to glue it in two parts. One is all the way around the base. I'll show you how to trim off the bottom later. The other part is going to be over the top of the boot. Now, it might be a bit difficult to see here because it's black, but this is the inside of the boot. And we obviously want to attach to the top as well. So we want to get the top bit, flop it over, and kind of glue underneath there so it stays to the top of the boot too. Now I'm going to do that now, and once that's all completed, I'll show you what the finished boot looks like once we've got it glued on, and I'll show you how to trim off the base too. So I'll get to that next, and I'll show you how to do that. And there we have it. I have glued the boot cover onto the boot. So the best way I've found to do it is start the gluing at the back of the heel, just over the heel, then do the toe, and then do the sides, because you've got that kind of leeway to pull it down tightly just around the top of the sole. So that should be all securely glued down there, and I've also done the same to the top. So my boot, the original boot is completely covered, and what you do after that is you get your material scissors and you snip all the way around as best as you can. Now obviously you want to get as close to the top of the sole as possible, and there is going to be a little bit of I guess overhang, because you obviously can't get the straightest cut with some scissors. So grab your good old utility knife and just carve off the leftover bits which stick out, and also any thick pieces of hot glue. Use the knife, not your scissors. And when you've done that, you will get a result that looks like this. Look at that. It's all cleanly cut just above the sole. Now, there is little bits and pieces that unfortunately I couldn't get through, but it's not too big a deal. Now, the biggest problem you might have here is some of the material might fray. Now, obviously, when you cut straight to the material, we're not overlocking or doing anything, so the best way to kind of get rid of those fraying edges is to just get a lighter. Where's my lighter gone? There it is. Just get a lighter like this. Flick it, and then just singe the edges of your material. That will typically keep it from fraying. And there you have it. That's basically your finished boot. Now, obviously, I'll get to doing the other one, and then I'll singe the bottom, and I'll finish off the embellishments. I just have to tidy up the top, obviously. It's a bit fluffy up the top. I'll style that all in there with a bit of hairspray and add a little bit of a belt that kind of ties it all together. But yeah, that's basically your finished boot cover once you've glued it on and you've trimmed it down. You've got a set pair of boots. And there you have it, that's how I make my boot covers. So hopefully this video helped you guys out a lot. If it did, please feel free to chuck us a like and a subscribe down below. It really helps out the channel a lot. And if you do have any other questions about the boot covers themselves, or you'd like to see another kind of tutorial made, please leave me a comment down below and I'll try and get back to you as quick as I can. Until then, I'll try and get some pictures up of my completed costume and how the boots look next to it, right here. But until then, obviously I haven't done a photo shoot just yet, but when I do, I'll chuck those pictures up on my Facebook and Instagram pages right here. But until then, thanks very much for watching, guys. Really appreciate you, really appreciate the support, and we'll see you in another video very soon. Bye for now.